has these injuries to the middle knuckle of one of his hands. Mr. Efron will tell you that.
Alright, y'all, so it's your girl Doe City. I'm back with another video. Now we are reacting to ASAP Rocky's first day of his trial. This is the opening statements. You already know ASAP turned down the plea deal. He was only gonna serve 6 months in jail. But there was some stipulations there that he was not with, because he had to go to like anger management classes, all types of stuff that came with just the plea deal, right? So he's fighting the case. Let's get right into it.
The shooting was happening. He immediately felt a burning sensation to his hand, which led him to believe that these were graze wounds from one of the bullets that was shot at him. Perhaps they were. Perhaps they were not. Whether or not the victim in this case was actually shot or injured by this will not be something that you have to decide at the end of the case. We ask you to wait until the end of the case when the judge instructs you on the law, what elements are actually required to be proven before you make any decision. And to listen to the charges specifically and not consider charges that the defendant is not charged with. In this case, he's not charged with attempted murder, for instance. Now, before I move on, I want to focus in on the last location that I haven't talked about much, location number 4. That location is a loading dock for this building on El Centro. It's right in the corner of El Centro and Vista Del Mar. And what you'll see in the video from that location is the defendant, Mr. Mayers, and his companion, 12B, walking from Vista Del Mar up El Centro towards Hollywood Boulevard. The arrows indicate their path of travel. They're going to come from that corner and then walk up El Centro. The camera itself is in that red circle. And you'll see this video is far more clear. And you'll see features of their clothing that you can match up to the clothing from the other videos that we've already watched. For instance, I mean, you can see just from Mr. Mayer's facial features that he's the one wearing all black. You can see from his facial features compared to the video from the parking structure. And then, as I said, the various features of his clothing, the rhinestones on the hood of his sweatshirt in both videos, and the design, the rhinestone design on the chest of his sweatshirt at both videos. And taking all the videos in their totality and comparing them is how you'll be able to decide on the video who is who. Now, I played the 911 call for you that LAPD received at 10:18, which triggered their response. And you'll see and hear that at 10:27, LAPD officers responded to the 911 call. And as is their duty, they responded quickly to this call to try to, of shots fired in the middle of Hollywood. You will hear from at least one of the officers who responded to that location, and the officer will tell you that as part of their uniform, they wear cameras that are mounted to their chest, and you will actually get to watch camera that captures the police response. After this shooting, the evidence will be that all 4 of these men, the defendant, 12B, Ills, and the victim, all left the scene. You'll hear that there were at least 2 people who called 911 to report this crime, who were just people living in the surrounding area, not actually involved in the altercation itself. You'll hear that the 911 callers were reporting different information. So the first call would be that the gunshots were fired at Argyle and Selma. The second call would be that the gunshots were fired in the area closer to Vista Del Mar and El Centro. You will hear from the officer that as they responded, they come to the scene looking for a victim. That's their primary focus. Trying to find anyone who needs immediate life-saving attention. Their second focus will be looking for the potential suspects if they can find them. And you'll hear from the officer that as he's receiving information that's taking him to different locations, he's actually going between the different locations and trying to piece together what happened. But what will be important from his testimony is that he is not given a precise location to exactly where this shooting happened. And with the limited information that he has, he and his partners are doing the best job that they can to find any victims, any suspects, or any evidence of a shooting. You'll hear the officer talk to different people who were just out and about, try to figure out what was going on, that neither of the 911 callers would meet with them, and that...
Bro, is the judge sleeping?
They searched not only the surrounding streets, but they primarily focused on the parking lot that was right at that corner of Vista Del Mar and Selma, because the second 911 caller had told him, or had relayed...
Yo, Rocky is looking hella attentive too, like, yo, for you to turn down the 6 month...
It was possible that the shooting was happening.
I hope he good, bro. New York, stand up.
The officer will tell you that they searched the area and they did not find any evidence of a shooting. They didn't find a victim with injuries. They didn't find any of the suspects. And they didn't find any discharged cartridge cases, which are what come out of a gun after you discharge it in the surrounding area. But again, they don't know exactly where to look with the limited information that they're given. You will also hear from Mr. Efron that approximately an hour, and he's not precise on the exact time, but approximately an hour after the shooting, he himself returned to the location. Now at this time, the police have already responded and left. Mr. Efron will tell you that he and his girlfriend went there specifically to look for evidence that this had happened. Evidence of this shooting. And Mr. Efron will tell you, because he knew exactly where the shooting happened, that he was able to locate 2 fired cartridge cases. And this is actually a photograph that Mr. Efron himself took of one of the fired cartridge cases that he found. Mr. Efron, you'll hear, went to the police 2 days later, walked into the Hollywood police station to report this crime happening. He brought the 2 fired cartridge cases with him, and he gave them to the police. You will hear that the 2 cartridge cases that he brought in were 9mm Luger caliber cartridge cases.
Damn, is this why ASAP is done?
High five at Breck.
Yo, Ferg just said ASAP was over, man. Not ASAP Rocky, just the team ASAP. Like, when y'all snitching on each other and shit. So he basically, the shit happened. They was probably gonna get away with it. But he went with his girlfriend to find the casings like a detective, like, and brought it in as evidence. Wow. Shocking.
However, you will also hear from Mr. Efron that immediately after the shooting, about an hour and a half later, he started text messaging the defendant. And he text messaged the defendant, "You try killing me." That was the first message he sent to him. And you'll hear that Mr. Mayer's response was to deny that anything happened. The defendant, in abbreviation,
He was supposed to say yes. Like,
"What the fuck is you talking about? Why are you telling people I shot at you?" Denying that any shooting has even happened. Mr. Efron confronts him again. "You set me up to try to take me from my daughter." And the defendant responds, "I tried to do what? I know you hate me, I hate you too." The defendant responds again, "Stop making shit up." Again, denying any confrontation took place.
W
Asserting any
ASAP.
shooting.
ASAP said, "What are you talking about?"
We've
Huh?
already told you in jury selection, and you will hear evidence, that after this shooting, Mr. Efron sought money from Mr. Mayers. In fact, right, hours after the shootings, this is the next day, November 7th, in the early morning hours, 3:40 a.m., you'll hear that Mr. Efron sent a message to one of his friends saying that he wants money. And identifying the reason why he wants that money is because Mr. Mayers shot at him. You will also hear that based upon these two incidents, the parking lot and the shooting on the corner, that Mr. Efron...
So Efron is the one who the victim's lawyer is speaking.
At the end of this case, you will not be asked to award Mr. Efron any money. So that consideration will not be a part of your what you're asked to determine. Moving forward in time, you'll hear from LAPD detectives that Mr. Mayer's home was searched on April 20th of 2022, and that during that search, LAPD detective recovered a magazine for a semi-automatic pistol that was 9mm caliber, and that it was loaded with 6 unfired 9mm Luger rounds of live ammunition. You will hear that these items were found in Mr. Mayer's bedroom closet. You will also hear that there was no handgun that was 9mm in Mr. Mayer's home that was for that magazine. So you have a 9mm magazine, but no handgun to go with it. The last point I want to leave you with before I conclude is that we expect, in this case, that the defense will call Twelby, Mr. Phillips, to testify. At the time of the shooting, again, he's friends with all these participants. He's 32 years old. And it is expected that he will testify that the defendant was, in fact, the person on the video who fired the 2 gunshots that we hear. So it will essentially be uncontested that Mr. Mayers was the person who fired the gun at that street corner, and that he will tell you the gun that the defendant fired was a starter pistol.
This is some New Jack City shit. Hold
That,
on.
ladies and gentlemen, is what the evidence in this case will show at the end of this case. As I've said, we expect that the defense will attempt to present an alternative explanation for what happened that night. But we ask you to do one thing, which is, as you evaluate the evidence from both sides in this case, to not leave your common sense at the door. And wait until the end of the case, when you have all the evidence, to make your decision. Listen to the court's instructions on the law, and return the only just verdict there is. Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll take the break now. Please be outside the courtroom doors at 1:30.
I find it hard to believe that the lead detective in this case didn't bring it to anyone's attention from the district attorney's office until after a jury was impaneled the night before opening statements. I mean, something that they now are saying is such a crucial piece of evidence. We have an issue now with the jury, obviously the jury panel. It may affect, quite frankly, whether we would have kept or not kept a few jurors, one in particular. And we assured him yesterday he'd have a fair trial. You're going to have a fair trial. We've made issues regarding the veneer. You know that, Your Honor. I'm not going to rehash that. We're here. We're ready to open today. I don't even know how we're supposed to do this.
So I don't know if he's kind of low, but I don't know if y'all know, like, ASAP Rocky, he's not being tried in front of his peers, right? Apparently they got like, it's like 101 like on the jurors, and it's like only like 4 black people. Everybody else is white, you know what I'm saying? So Al Sharpton came out and he has something to say, and they're basically like calling him out, you know what I mean? On some like, yo, this is obviously a setup, you know? Because y'all gotta understand, like, once they give you a plea deal and you don't take it, they're going to do everything possible to make sure that you get everything possible, okay? They're gonna make sure that you get you not that you don't get a fair trial, but they're just gonna make sure that you get convicted. Hopefully he doesn't get convicted. It kind of reminds me of the Tory Lanez thing. Like, Tory Lanez also got a plea deal early, and he didn't take it. And I feel like that's why they gave him 10 years. I'm gonna be real, you know. But it is what it is.
This should be suppressed without question, because it changes the complexity of the case. At the very least, we have to quash this panel and start again, or strike jurors, reselect. I mean, I think even the district attorney said, okay, well, continuance is appropriate. I want continuance. We paid the jury. We're ready to go. This is something that, you know, to render fair and effective representation here, as we all assured Mr. Mayor that we have, in the midst of a trial that's already underway, we would need to locate and retain our own expert to conduct a scientific analysis. Their report was 28 pages. It took them, according to them, it took them 1 week to do this. 1 week. And that's their own lab, with their own on-staff experts. And it took them a week. How long is it going to take us? We have to go find somebody first. Hope he's available. The trial will be over. We also have to make arrangements for the physical examination of the casings, scientific testing. I mean, if you look at their report, I mean, they cite like some of the basis for their findings is of the internet. They went on and cited all these websites and forums. I mean, there is so much work to be done here to even understand this conclusion. I mean,
All right, so what do you think?
what am I seeking?
What are you asking for?
Your Honor, I'm asking, well, and our letters laid it out. I don't need to rehash it, but our letters laid out pretty clearly what we're asking for. There's no way to proceed in this case if this is admitted. We have to either strike this whole panel. We need a continuance. We have to start again. What I'm asking for is you include this. This is after the jury was impounded. This is a major piece of evidence that will require us to do a lot of expert work that took them their own department. That's the only thing I'm requesting. Short of that, Your Honor, I can't even open if this is coming in, because I have to deal with the address. I don't even understand it. And it's on the way to court, we have 28 pages of backup data. So that's what I'm requesting. I'm requesting this to be included. It's after the jury's impaneled here. You know, Cecile just pointed out, there's also a balancing argument under 352, you know, which I think is also something that's relevant here, including not limited to, but you know, we have this whole, I don't know what to say here, Your Honor. I really don't. I want to make sure he gets a fair trial. He's here, we're ready to go. We all assured him he'd get a fair trial, and this is, I've never seen anything like this. I'm not going to talk about the other witnesses, the late Brady disclosures, or the witness we got the name of for the first time last night. I'm not whining about that. I know that's what they want to keep doing. We both have had issues with that. That's fine. I will not admit an issue of it anymore. You've already ruled on that. Period, end of story. This is now a new one. You know, I don't want to get into, I told you so. Many people said to me this morning, I told you so. That this was going to happen. And I'm trying to keep my composure, Your Honor. I don't know if I've ever been this upset in a courtroom in my whole career, both as a prosecutor and a defense attorney. I have to be honest with you. This is not right. It's not fair to him.
Oh, that lawyer not playing no games. That lawyer basically calling out all of the injustices. Y'all trying to lock my boy ASAP up. That boy getting paid, yo. That boy said, I have never felt this angry ever in my whole career. Yo, put at the bottom what y'all think, man. Do y'all think ASAP is like, you know what I'm saying? Based on the opening statement, I ain't gonna hold you. I didn't know that Buddy went back to the spot, found the shell casings, brought it down to the precinct, and filed a report. Yo, damn, yo, Ferg just said ASAP was done. Like, you know, the group, the ASAP mob, he said, yo, ASAP mob is done. I dismantled it. Is this why? When y'all shooting at each other, snitch on each other, allegedly. There's a lot going on with the ASAP mob, man. Pray for them. Anyways, man, we going to keep up with this ASAP Rocky trial. This is day one opening statements, and I am going to be reacting to a lot of this. You feel me? So make sure y'all stay tuned. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Let's get it. Let's go.